Good morning. Well, technically it's afternoon, but thank you to everyone who has shown up today. I am going to be doing some Live2D here in just a few moments. Here we are. Amazing. Okay, so if you can't hear the music very well and you want it a little bit louder, just let me know. I am more than happy to turn it up a bit. This is my second stream doing Prism Live Studio instead of OBS. When I did it before on Dark Souls the other night, it was fantastic. I have not had much of a chance to play with this software, just because I've been really super busy, and if not busy, then sick. But yeah, this morning I am ready to get back into this. I'm very excited. And as always, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I am more than happy to answer any questions you have, provided that I have an answer, because sometimes I will not have an answer. But I do try my best. So, as I was doing before, we're going to go back to the toggles over here. And actually, what I'm going to do is just quickly fix some of this keyframing, right? I'm gonna do Control-Shift copy, Control-Shift V, and I'm gonna bring that down to 0. Perfect. Honestly, I should probably just go into everything and just like fix everything. Because, you know, I have issues. But I feel like the best way to do this is basically just kind of take this keyform, copy, paste it, but then bring the opacity down to 0. There we go. And I think that the same thing should be done here. I'm going to go over here and just do Control-Shift copy. Then over here, Control-Shift V. And then just bring down the opacity. So now it's not going to be so weird. It actually comes in right there. Still just slightly weird, but it's not the same level weird. And I almost kind of like the slight turning that happens for that. So, yeah. Okay, I fixed that. That was gonna bother me. Also great news. I have a fan now. So now I can have the fan on me without the AC on being super noisy and distracting while we're doing this. So now we got that toggle done pretty much. Because if we come here, and then we want to do, like... Well, technically we still have to do the physics yet, which we're going to do this stream. But now if we do, like, the moving around... It goes with it. Which is what we needed. So, for the physics, this is going to be a slightly trickier part, especially because I'm not as good with the physics. Let me see here. So we are gonna go ahead, I guess, with the plush tail, and then, oh, that is not the deformer that I wanted. Okay. This is the deformer that I wanted. So now, we're gonna have to basically rig a little bit of physics so that when things happen, it causes certain things to move in certain ways. It's hard to, like, physically explain. But I think showing is probably going to be the best way. Because you know already, we did the main moving. So, like, whenever the body turns, the plush is going to turn with it. But we want the ears and the little paws and, like, the tail to do, like, a little, like, swinging and wiggle. So what we have to do is we got to rig that. So for the X, I'm basically gonna come in here and I'm gonna, since we're on the right, but we're neutral, we're just gonna shift, move this over. And I'm even gonna do like a little bit of a swinging, right? So then, ooh, swings a little bit. Although I think I might want to do just a wee bit more. I think what's bothering me is the maybe it's not the bounding box. I think, yeah, that's definitely what I need. Because I want it to be kind of a pretty noticeable. If it's going to be like that, I think it needs to be just a little bit more over. Okay. So now I've done it that way. I can reflect, I think. I think that's how that works. Well, now it's on that side. Not quite what I wanted. Control-Shift-C. Control-Shift-V. For this, I think I'm just gonna have to do... Trying to remember the exact way that you flip it. Because I remember... Gotta zoom out a little bit because I'm too close. Da 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 da. Reflect. All right, I think it's because I did the thingy, so I'm gonna do copy. And then I'm gonna do, wait, no. Copy, and then paste. There we go. So then we have it neutral. I'm gonna come over here, and I'm gonna try this again. Because I need to, like, stop doing... Don't do what I'm doing right now. Okay, reflect. Just this one, see if that... Yeah, I'm probably just gonna do it manually, because I can't remember how exactly to do it. Let me see if it's on one of my sticky notes. Let me just open this note. Yeah, I can't remember how to do it, and it's not on my notes. I should have put them in my notes, but I did not because I was a dumb. So I guess the best thing to do here is just to kind of reflect the movement. Oh my goodness. Actually, wait, I think I know what the thing is. I gotta go over here and then hit reflect. Yes, that's how you do the thing. Wait, no. Oh, wait. Control-Shift-V. Sorry. Control-Shift-C, Control-Shift-V. And then... reflect? Maybe? No? Undo. This is gonna be a bit... I can already see this. Okay, so I'm gonna do Control-Shift-V, and then Control-Shift, wait, no. Reflect. Does that not... I hit reflect, and then it just doesn't, I don't know how to do it. I am not an expert. I'm still getting over some of the struggles here. Okay. That's not even quite how I want this to look if it's coming this way, because there's no arm in the way, so may as well just make it a little bit more dramatic anyhow. Oh, wait. Undo. I realize I am looking at the wrong one. Let's try this again. Okay. So for over here, we're going to do like this. Maybe not quite that drastic, actually, because the hand being in the way. But then it's coming that way. Actually, would even put this more like in the middle over here. And then shift this over here. So then we have like a fully swinging tail, although I feel like that should be just a wee bit more. Actually, it can't even quite go that way because there's a hand there. So it would kind of get, it would knock into the arm. The non-existent arm. Okay, so now we have this going like this, right? So now we need to look at the up and down, and I'm not sure why this is odd, but okay. Control-Shift-C, I'm just gonna quickly reset these because I'm gonna need them to be in the exact spot. So at this point, we're looking at how we simulate how it bounces up and down. So if it's going up a little bit, I would probably... Whoop. Let's undo that. So this is going up to the right, right? So we would come up like that. And then for down, probably more like that. Not anything crazy. Just, you know, enough. Now if we do this, we'll be able to see almost what it looks like, but we can actually synthesize the corners. So now it's going to kind of guesstimate about where it goes. Where did the thing go? Oh, it's because it's over there. Okay. Here we are. Yeah, that looks about right, I think. So now when the body's moving, it'll swing back and forth. And it'll go up and down a little bit too, but we don't want it to be too drastic. So then the next thing that we gotta do is we gotta do the ears and the paws. So for that, we're gonna come down here. Now, if you remember last time, I was like looking at doing the physics for that, but I kind of ran out of time. So we are going to just quickly... Why do I have two of these? I don't need two of these. Okay. So these two things. We are going to come over here to each of these, and we are going to put in the keyforms. So now we can actually get moving. So if you remember, X is going left and right, Y is going up and down. So we kind of want to simulate a little bit of the bounciness that we would see when the model is moving. So for the... Wait a second. I put them on the wrong keyforms. Wrong parameters. Sorry. We put them on these because we're trying to keep this organized. And things will move a little bit differently depending on the parts. I'll have to explain that a little bit later. But if you want certain things to bounce more when they're being moved, you want to have them on, I guess, like separate parameters so that you can actually customize versus grouping everything together and doing everything the same. Like, I don't use the same kind of physics I use on, like, the hat, for example, and the ears, as I do for, like, the body. Because the body is not going to be as bouncy, right? So you got to think in terms of physics. So first, I'm going to kind of come in here with the left and right here. You don't necessarily need to do them at the same time. You can. I am not confident myself to do that. So I do them one at a time. So obviously this is looking to our left. That's looking to our right. When this kind of goes off this way, I'm going to think about more like, it's going to be a little bit more like that, I think. A little bit more shifted slightly. So you can now see like a little bit of a bounce, but it's not anything crazy yet because I haven't started deforming. The tail, I was not as worried about. The ears, I want to look a little bit more bouncy. And then on this side, we're going to do kind of the same thing. And shift this over. So now we got a little bit of a bounce going on, but I want just a little bit more, right? So I'm thinking what we can do is we can hide the bounding box for a few moments. Kind of bring that down. Get a little bit of this. Bring that in. So now we got a little bit of a bounce to the right. Without it being anything crazy. Now we can do the same over here. So we can kind of stretch this a little bit. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy, just enough for you to be able to see that, oh yeah, it's, you know, shifting a little bit. Because that's going to give it a bit of the bounciness that you see when the model is moving around. Okay, so now as this goes back and forth, we can kind of see how it'll change. It's not going to do as much going that way because it's the left ear. Now we can look at the right ear. So over here, it's going to be a similar deal. If we're trying to go to the left, as you can see like that, this is going to kind of sway this way, but we want this to kind of move over a little bit. Hide the bounding box because it gets in the way. So now we got this pushed over. And now you can kind of see it's starting to look a little bit more realistic. I mean, not really because it's a cartoon, but you know what I mean. More like realistic movement. We got that going on. And then I'm going to move that down just slightly. Then we got to do the other way. I'm going to bring back out the bounding box here. I'm going to move this over just slightly. Because now we see that's going to bring that up. Whoop. Clicked on the wrong thing. Silly me. I'm going to turn that like that. And now while that might be showing right there, you can obviously fix that just by bringing that down. Because the whole point of this is basically to make a believable bounce back and forth. It probably won't look perfect, and that's okay. But it does need to look like it's believable. Like, would it actually bounce that way? Now with this, it looks a little bit out of place. So I'm going to kind of bring these in. That way it's a little bit more realistic to be more of like a rotation. Now you can use rotational deformers, but when you're doing stuff like this, it's a lot harder to and maintain like everything in sync with itself. There's something like weird if you try to like combine deformers, it just kind of messes with things. So I tend to avoid that. Okay, so now we got that. Now we can actually do a bit of the pause. Those I actually put together for some reason. I don't remember why. But probably because they're not going to move a whole lot, right? So for these, we're just going to make a quick flush, pause, XY, physics. Yeah, don't really need to put much detail into that. It's just for our information. We're gonna do the same thing. We're going left. We're probably going to just ever so slightly first take off the bounding box, but move that over. Can't really see past the hand here, so I'm gonna hide this for a moment, because we're gonna kind of do a little bit of this, so we can kind of swing that, and then we can kind of reflect that onto this side. So just a slight twist, remove the bounding box. I feel like this is the easiest way to make a believable swing. It's just like a slight twist. And then just kind of moving things, you know? As I've explained to people before, my model is actually very much smoke and mirrors. So prove what I'm doing so I can better help you guys. Because I know Live2D is kind of daunting. I feel like right here, this could kind of come out a little bit, maybe, to look a little bit more 3D. I think maybe bringing this over. That way it's, you know, a little bit more, it kind of goes with it. I'm even thinking maybe of making the plush jiggle a little bit, but I'm not sure if that's gonna like be over the top, you know? Like how you see some physics on some VTuber models, it's just like too much. I'm not sure if it'll be too much. I'll take a look at it when I'm done actually checking out the physics. But right now, we got a little bit of a back and forth going. Which should, in theory, make it a little bit more fun. There we go. So now we got a little bit more cohesive of a thing going on here. So, next thing is going to be the y-axis. So if we're looking up and we're going down. So since we're already on the pause, might as well start on the pause. For this, for up, I am putting the bounding box back on because I'm going to do this. Bring it up just a little bit and then like that. Take off the bounding box. Bring that up a little bit like that. Maybe bring that down. That way it looks like it's going up. And then going down, we're going to do something similar. We're going to put the bounding box back on, hit shift, and go down. Then we're going to take that off. Make it like that. That way it looks like it's bouncing down. All right, and then if we go left and right, we're gonna have to figure out that part real quick too. Good morning, Aline. Welcome on in. Quack to you too. Ah. I am enjoying putting the physics into this plush. That way it has a swinging tail and bouncy ears. And right now we're doing the paws. The paws over here for the toggle. Had to hide the hand because it was in the way. Hope you're doing well. So now we got those swinging back and forth. And now we're going to do the, I guess, corners. And the way we do that is the lazy man's way. And we just come in here and we synthesize the corners. Yep. And now when we bring the toggle back, we should have a fairly decently working. Ooh. So now as it moves, we should have, well, as you can see, working paws. Although, looking up here, we still have to do the ears. And we'll have to synthesize those corners too, because we do not have that for the ears yet. So now when we do the up, what I'm going to do for this is I'm just going to do a control. Whoop. Not control, undo. Alt, I think, yeah. Alt, to kind of stretch it up. And actually, I'm just gonna stretch it up like this, because I think that's gonna be... And then just shift this down slightly. There we go. And then hide the bounding box so I can actually do more like this. So now, kind of bounces up. And then we'll just do that over here too. Ah. Easier said than done clicking on this from here. There we go. I'm just gonna kind of bring that up to kind of match. Then Control, hide, or H, I should say. And bring this up. Again, we don't want that to show, so we're gonna kind of do this. So now we have a perfectly bouncy up here. Now we gotta do the inverse. Which basically, we just kind of bring this in. I think I'm going to also bring back the bounding box for just a moment to kind of squish him. Now come back over here. Very similarly, we're going to kind of do that. Remove the bounding box. Bring that down. So now we got a little bit of a squish. But we got to synthesize the corners so that they actually look, you know, cohesive. Okay. So now... Oh my. What is going on here? I'm thinking something funky happened on this ear. What happened here? What did I do? What did I do? Okay. It's weird. It's like it just didn't synthesize it. I'm gonna see if that fixes it. Doing it with it on. Yeah. Need to have it selected. Okay. Perfect. So now we actually have working physics. So in theory, if I have everything here connected properly, we should be able to make some progress in physics. So I'm going to do this really quickly and open the physics window. Make sure this is actually showing up over here. Here we are. Okay. I will say, using Prism Live is a little bit weird because, like, you actually have to play around with your transitions and stuff, because otherwise I would have had my stinger transition going just to this and just to unhide it. It's very weird. It takes a little bit of getting used to, and the software does have its quirks. However, we've been on for like half an hour, over half an hour, and it's still going, no dropping. I highly recommend it. You know, it's a quirky software, but it has its uses. So right now we are going to actually set up our physics for the model, like the plush part, right? So we are going to call this, I'm going to call it tail physics XY. The input is going to be body, and then the model preset, we're not going to use one. So for this part, it gets a little bit complicated, right? We're going to do body Y. And so it's hard to explain the difference between like position and angle. The angle is like when something like just turns in a direction in place, and positions when something like physically can move from the spot. Like, for example, the hat, whenever it like bounces around, that's more of a position versus an angle. But for this case, the tail swinging is going to be more, you know, position and versus angle. So that's also going to be position. So for the effectiveness, we're going to put this at 50 and 50. You can't have it go over 100. It does not, you can't do it. So this is body input. So the body X and Y will affect this. So right now, just to see how this goes, I'm going to turn on the toggle. Now the hand is still missing because I want to see how this moves, right? So we're going to go over to the output settings. We are going to add, we're going to add down here first. So now we have just a basic pendulum. I am going to add in our tail. So the scale is automatically just not going to be very effective. So I'm going to put that to 20 to start. And you'll see what I mean when I actually start working with this. It pretty much almost never goes the way that you want it to initially, because this kind of affects how strong it actually moves. So it doesn't matter how extreme your angling is if you just don't have your scale up. Now you can see a little bit of the tail swinging now. But that's not quite what I want. So we're going to bump this up to 50. I'm going to bump that also up to 50. See how this goes. Okay. So I want this to not be so harsh, but I want it to still move around, but I want it to kind of take a little bit longer. So I'm going to kind of increase the duration, right? Because that's how long it's going to be swinging. And this is the shaking something. I don't know what it's actually supposed to say. Shaking influence. Yeah. Okay. So now you notice it's still kind of moving. So I'm thinking, because we want it to move a little bit more, I think. Because that's kind of a little bit of a... Okay, 1 is the max there. I feel like the duration's just a little bit... Actually, you know what? It might be the reaction time. Zoom out. See if that... Because you kind of have to play with the, yeah, that's probably what I'm looking for. More like... So I'm actually going to bring this back down to maybe like a 9 and see if that helps. It helps a little bit. It's not quite enough. Maybe like 12. Let's see if maybe that helps. Because you kind of want this to move in the way that you want it to. Overall acceleration. Okay, you can actually bump that up. Right now I'm just trying to fiddle around with it and see about where I want this to actually be. I'm also wondering if maybe adding a pendulum and assigning it to like there, if that might help. I also think I probably need to bump this up more. I'm going to try 70 right now and see how that... Okay, that's a little bit more... Not entirely what I like. But it's getting there, right? But maybe that one should be 1, and then this one should be 2. Whoa! Okay, that's looking a little bit closer to what I want, but not quite. Overall acceleration, I feel like... Ooh. That is not... Maybe let's try 60 on these and see. It's kind of playing around in experimentation. Good morning, BC Wendell. Well, technically it's afternoon. Hope you're doing well. I'm just playing around trying to figure out how best to do the physics here because it is giving me a little bit of trouble. I'm not gonna lie. But it's looking a little bit better, at least. Not quite where I want it. Basically, it's a matter of playing around with this until it looks right. I'm sure once I'm more of an expert in Live2D, I'll better understand how everything affects everything. I'm wondering if maybe I move that down, if that'll help. That's still a little much. So I want that to move, but I don't want it to be too drastic. Because right now it's very heavy. So I'm even wondering if maybe it should be down to 50 again. for the scale. Well, it's looking a little bit more. It's looking a little bit closer to what I want. I think maybe a little bit less on the shaking. Maybe less reaction time. Because I want it to look a little bit more, I guess, realistic. Not quite realistic, but you know. Okay, that's looking closer to what I want. Not quite where I'd like. But I'm wondering if after fiddling enough with the reaction time, I'm thinking maybe even less for the Y scale. And then more for the... I almost feel like having that part should be a little bit more. Yeah, because the X is supposed to be a little bit more wibble wobble. I'm thinking maybe of making that one 1, and then this one 2 is like a secondary. And then that might fix the issue here. It's not quite going the way I like. Wondering if number 2 just needs to be shorter. Well, it's looking a little bit better. Yeah, it's looking a lot better. So I think now the next thing is going to be to do the ears and the paws. And I can kind of play with this a little bit more later too. So we are going to add ears, paws, blush, is just because I am too lazy. This is also going to be a body input. Let me see here. So now we're gonna go ahead. You know, for a moment I got a little bit scared because I thought that my mic might be turned off. I was like, oh, okay, it's on. It's definitely on. I always scare myself with that. But now we're gonna go ahead and do the ears and the paws. So we're gonna have to add a pendulum. And we don't really need to do multiple because these are very short, small pieces. We are going to do, for the inputs, it's going to be body X and then body Y. Because we don't have a body Z for the actual body movement. So, come over here. And now we add in everything. So that is going to be the plush ears and paws. And now, for these, once again, we are going to bump the scale because it's almost never what you want it at when you first go here. And also over here, actually, I might leave that at angle just to see if that helps. I think it might actually. I'm going to go back to the tail and see if having this as an angle might help. And just have that at 100% maybe. Okay. That is very bouncy. That is extremely bouncy. Almost too bouncy for the ears. So we're gonna shorten this a little bit. Not a whole lot. And we're even maybe gonna bring down the scale to like 35. I'm gonna see if that's appropriate. Yeah, that is looking way more mobile, and the paws actually kind of bounce around, which is fantastic. That is exactly what I'm looking for. Nice and bouncy. So we actually have a bouncy toggle. Oh my goodness. And this, my friends, is where I am going to go back to the regular thingy here. And we are going to quickly save, because we save our work here. If you do not save your work, you are bound to lose it. So we save our work here. Okay, so now if I come up here, if I have that hand, I'm actually going to go ahead back into the physics real quick, now that that is hidden. Or not hidden, but unhidden. And I'm going to check out how the physics look once we have the toggle up. So gotta scroll down a little bit to find it. Here we are. Oh my goodness. We have bouncy. Bouncy, bouncy. This is exactly what I wanted. Bouncy, bouncy, fun, 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 fun. So now the plush moves with, and the best part is that, you know, the little bits move too. I'm also thinking about doing like the body physics, you know, make it like a little squishy is what I'm thinking. Because if I make it a little bit squishy, it's going to look even more akin to what it should actually look like. But I can't do an extreme squish, you know, because in that case, it's not going to look right. So, now if we even do like the little thingy here, you can actually see how it does the thing. Because you have like these like random preset thingies that you can use to test certain functions. Including like this one, but that kind of goes between the toggles and you can't quite tell. And it's not as effective, unfortunately. But the random A just kind of does what you need it to. I'm going to go ahead and hide this again so that we can go back to the actual rigging. As much as I enjoy messing with the physics and looking at it, because it's absolutely gorgeous in my opinion, and that might just be me being vain and having a big ego. Although I wouldn't say I have a big ego, because everything I do is scuff. But we have some progress. We have some serious progress here. Double save, because only rookies save once. Okay, so for the actual body, we can do a little bit of like a jiggle, right? So we're gonna do, I think, this, and the belly, and the cheek, and this, and the mouth. I think would need to be like squishy, because the buttons themselves don't really do a whole lot with that, but yeah, we have a plush body, so I can go ahead and actually do a thing for that. So we're gonna do a quick plush main body fizz. I just call it fizz because it's easier. So here, as always, we want to make sure we have our keyframes set because we don't want to have issues later. It's so easy to just accidentally whoopsie poopsie. I did things and forgot to put the keyforms in, and now I have to redo everything. That is never fun. So now that we have the keyforms in place, we can actually do a little bit. So we're going to do to the left, technically, which is technically the right as well. Anytime you look at this, it's going this way, like on this side. Anytime you're on this side, it's going this way for the X. But when you're actually like looking at it from like Live2D point of view, your right is Live2D's left because it's like the model's looking at you, so it's their left. It's hard to explain, but it's something you kind of get used to after you've done enough Live2D. So the slight shift here, I'm not even going to move the actual body itself. I'm going to do just a slight thing here. Just a slight. Bring that in. Bring that in. Bring that in ever so slightly. Bring that out ever so slightly. We're just kind of making like a slight shift over because we're going to the right. And then we're going to do a slight shift to left, doing the same thing. And they say that symmetrical things are easier to work with in Live2D, and people are not wrong about that. However, asymmetry tends to be a little bit more noticeable, I guess is the best way to put it. Like, I've seen like a lot of people who... I'm gonna have to fix the ears. Let me just grab the box here. So this is gonna have to kind of... There we go. Probably gonna have to do on the other side too, because of reasons. Because it's gonna show that as it moves. But back to the plush over here. I think this stuff is just gonna be ever so slightly shifted. It just kind of goes like this. Very slight shift. I don't want it to be anything drastic. The same's going to go for going up and down for the Y. So for here, we're going to just do another hiding of the bounding box. We're going to go up. Bring that down. Bring this down. Oh, and there's the boy. The boy's gonna bark a little bit. There's something just arrived. I think it's probably groceries. Bring that boing a little bit down. Not too far, though. Because it's going up a little bit. So it's like it's looking up. And then when it looks down, it's going to be the opposite way. It's going to be more like this. And then this is going to come down slightly. Once again, we're not doing anything crazy in the shifting here. But this stuff will get kind of pulled up a little bit while that gets pushed down, because we're trying to pretend that this is almost like a mask, like a 3D mask. It's going to kind of go like that. Like, it looks like it's like going up and down if you look at it. So that's kind of the goal here. Now, if we link these two, We come over here and we synthesize the corners. And we gotta obviously turn back on the toggle here. And that will do that. Now, you might be wondering why I didn't add the eyes, and I think it's because it's the actual body itself kind of shifting versus the eyes. So we'll kind of go back in here, physics, and let you guys see this too. Because for whatever reason, you have to capture the physics window separately in OBS or Prism. I mean, regardless, whatever you're streaming with. But now we can actually add a new one. I call this plush body physics. And once again, body. Instead of Z, it's going to be body Y. We're going to add a pendulum. Going to come over here, and we're going to add our new forms here. Whoops, not trying to get the breath here. So now, we're going to do toggle. Zoom in so we can see here. How's this looking? Okay, so it's not doing a whole lot, so we're going to do about 20. 20. So now... Oh, yeah, that's about the kind of jiggle I want. Where it's not too noticeable, but it's like there. I'm thinking just a bit more on that for the X. So now it looks like it's more like a Beanie Baby, which I think is just fantastic. I'm very pleased with this. I'm not gonna lie. So now we actually have... I kind of zoom out a little bit. We actually have a properly moving toggle. This isn't going to move too much with this, but it's going to move enough. And so now it looks like he's holding the plush. So yeah. This is definitely coming quite well along, I would say. So I'm going to go ahead and stop that. And we're going to get back over here. I'm going to hide this window again. And as always, we save our stuff. We don't like to end up with problems, so we always save. Alrighty. I'm thinking now. Since we got that toggle done, we're going to have to put together another toggle. Which is going to be probably the other hand. So let's just turn that off for now. And I'm going to make a new parameter. We're going to call this R staff arm toggle. Now, I've seen a lot of stuff about, like, blend shapes and stuff, and I have to learn about that yet, but when I do, I'm probably going to be using it a lot, because it could help with some of the things that I want to do. Let me see here. That's the magic for the staff. Let me see here. Here we are. So we got the hand, and we got the staff. Since we haven't actually set the thingy here yet. Yeah. Actually, really quickly, I want to edit this. This is going to be 0. And then that's going to be 1 because this is just to turn on the toggle from being off, kind of like this one. So, and yes, I'm very proud of how I did this. I need to open up the toggle stuff here. Okay, so this stuff, I'm going to actually move all the way over before I even set the keyforms, because I do not want to have to deal with that. So for here, I'm going to get everything but the staff real quick, because we're going to kind of move this up. If I remember correctly, I wanted it to be kind of like out over here, so that he would be holding the staff like this way. So then for here, I want to kind of rotate the staff. Oh, did I forget the... I forgot the thumb. I love when I do dumb things. Always make sure you've selected everything. And you didn't leave anything behind. I'm gonna kind of angle it like that. And I think I even want to possibly move it over more. Move it more like this. And see if that looks about right, because I'm going to have to also morph the sleeve to fit with it. Let me see how the staff fits. That's going to be kind of like right in here. Let me just kind of turn this over a little more. I'm trying to think. Because I might even want to like shrink this just slightly to make it work. Because that way the thumb kind of comes out from around it. And then maybe do that. So it doesn't really change the overall shape all that much, but does make it a little bit thinner and a little bit easier to work with here. Because the whole point is selling the illusion that he is holding something. And so now this will be able to kind of move around, but I'm going to just slightly move it, I think, a little bit more like this. Because that still needs to come out from there. There we go. So as a whole, what I'm going to do is actually make all of that under a single deformer and then start using deformers under that in order to better calibrate everything, if you will. But first thing is first. I'm going to go over to the staff toggle, and first we're going to save. And we're going to start fixing some stuff. So all of this, for starters, we're gonna give ourselves a warp deformer. My arm staff toggle, I'm gonna call this XY. Actually, I won't even need the toggle. I'm going to call it main. it's important to know what you're looking for. And a lot of people have like a certain kind of naming structure that they use. For me, I just kind of use what I think I can remember. And then for this, for all these things, I'm going to kind of come in here like this. And we're going to do that. And then when we're on this keyform, all of these are invisible. So then when they come into view, it's a fade. And it's opacity. But by the same token, the glove cuff down here and the right glove have to go away. And that means putting them on this toggle. So over here for this one, it's on. Over here, we need to make this at 0. So now we can kind of switch between. So now if we come in here, so that's the toggle physics, and then right arm, I don't actually have anything in here yet, so I'm gonna kind of all this right arm toggle. And that way I can actually start putting in deformers and stuff for here and parameters. So I'm going to make a new parameter. We're going to call this staff arm toggle X. And we're going to leave it at the minus 35 and the positive 35. And then I'm going to replicate this, but then make this into Y, because I am too lazy to type. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and start doing this. So we have the whole big staff thing up here. I'm going to put that away. Put that away. We're up here now. So first things first, we need our main kind of thing. And this even is going to need under this a deformer. So I'm going to call this R sleeve toggle XY. Okay. And that way we have a way to kind of do things. All right. So I think for now, I'm going to go ahead and do the X. Which, looking at this, I feel like for this specific thing, I'm going to do that, that, and then for this whole big thing, we're going to do this. That way we get a general back and forth, and then we can actually tweak the sub parts with additional warp deformers. However, for now, I think I'm going to wrap it up. I know it's a little bit shorter of a stream today, but I do need to put away some groceries, and hopefully I can do this again next Saturday. I may have a spontaneous one during the week. I'm not sure yet. But where is the, there we go. So with all that said, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. We are going to have another one this next week, unless otherwise stated. What I think I'm going to do is also really quickly just post my Discord here in the chat so that anyone who would like to can go ahead and join my Discord where I have all of my updates. I do want to thank you guys again for popping by, even if just for a little bit, and I'll see you next time.